మిత్రులారా, బంధువులారా, వనక్కము స్వాగతము. Welcome to South Asia Maps. This is an education channel. Your presenter Dr. J. Reddy, Joggari Tirupati Reddy. Mitruna, we are continuing our fascinating series on human ecology, human predicament, human dilemma, or human impasse on the planet Earth. Human ecology is a broad branch of science, encompasses many branches, essentially deals with the abiotic-biotic interactions of the humans on the planet Earth. Everything we do can be broadly categorized as a human ecology. Today's presentation in this series 141, we are going to talk about a very prominent, important socio-political entity, geopolitical entity, United States of America, prominent military economic power. USA, the sea to shining sea, from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. United States of America, sea to shining sea, the takeover, human takeover from the native flora and fauna and native what Europeans regarded as a disregardable, dispensable Native Americans. The takeover process is complete. What is the takeover process that ended around about 1850 or so? And what is the implications, the legacy that has left in the United States and the rest of the mankind today? That aspect we will be talking about. This is the ecological paradigm of looking socio-political, economic activities, history of the mankind, overlaid with ecological paradigm, the things that move the human actions beneath the human ecology. Excuse me. I have this human ecology series, human ecology series for you. This is part 141, that is C to shining sea. I think there is some spelling mistake here. And the takeover process is complete in United States of America. And similar, the ecological series topics I have posted here. You can look at them. Some of them I am trying to show here if you are not aware. And all of these presentations I have posted in South Asia Maps JRD. South Asia Maps JRD, there are in 2025 May, there are around about 800 or so. I have put them in around about 75 or so playlist. You can pick and choose the topic of your interest. South Asia Maps JRD. Sea to shining sea, the takeover of United States is complete. What is the takeover process? This is very important that we should know what is the takeover process. The takeover process, you can see here there is a wilderness habitat where humans are the members of that habitat living as hunters and gatherers. And they found agriculture technology and went and cleared that forest and started plant cultivation, that is the animal husbandry and crop husbandry. That means they have taken over this land habitat that has a flora and fauna, replacing them for their own benefit. Before that they were just hunters and gatherers. They have not taken over. So takeover means increasing the carrying capacity. That means by taking over, now they have increased their numbers. They also increased their economic status, their energy resource consumption. Instead of hunters and gatherers, now they are living the small houses and so on. Take over, I call it TO here, increasing the carrying capacity of the land at the cost of flora and fauna. What happened here? On the plan, that is the general. Around about 1500 CE, Common Era, the European made a lot of discoveries, the navigation and discoveries, voyages. The Europe was a old country, the old world, this is the new world. Plenty of people, the new world is a plenty of opportunities. Here I am showing around about 50 million people living in these two continents. There should be around about 500 or so. Maybe there is typo here. 44, this is 10, and 30, this is the area in million square kilometers. Area 24, 17 million square kilometers. They landed here at that time. There are in North America, and there was a very less number of native Indian people lived as a mostly hunters and gatherers witness. And Europeans took over that land, displacing the flora and fauna as well as the excuse me, native Indians. That means from the sea, when they landed around about 1500, colonies started, Jamestown and so on, around about 1600, and there was original 13 colonies. By 1850, from 1600 to 1850, within 200 years, that 250 years or so, the rapid changes occurred from the sea to shining sea. That is the process we are going to look at today. This is the takeover. I have represented this icon for you. The human here, this hand or something, is just taking over the land. Here you can see European colonizers coming from Europe, taking over here, entire new world, but I have put a red blob here, the United States of America, taking over from their competitors, replace the competitors. That is the flora and fauna. That means the plants and animals. Takeover method, enlarging the carrying capacity, CCP, increasing the opportunity for one species by reducing the opportunity for competing species. Here the species that has taken, that benefited is the European colonizers. They have removed their competitors, flora and fauna, the native plants like prairie grasses and fauna like bisons and so on. Also the fauna, that the organisms, animals like humans are also animals, the Native American Indians. So these people are beneficiaries at the cost of their fellow competitors. How this happened? Briefly, we look at it, that time span. And 1500s, we have seen the discoveries and so on. The landing 1600s, starting the colonies, the originally 13 colonies from the New England up to of Georgia. South of Georgia, Florida was the Spanish Empire and so on. We are not talking about that. 1776, they declared independence and obtained the independence, original 13 colonies. Then the president, Thomas Jefferson, the third president after Washington and John Adams, the Thomas Jefferson, they made a treaty with, at that time, the French government was run by the Napoleon, and Louisiana Purchase. Here there is a spelling mistake. Here Louisiana, this is the vast territory from Canadian border to the Gulf of Mexico. Now there is also a state called Louisiana and New Orleans, those areas. This is west of Mississippi River mostly. The Louisiana Purchase, the overnight. Before that, 13 colonies and west of east of Mississippi, this was the United States. Sans means without Florida at that time. So almost they doubled their territory overnight within, let's say, 30, less than 30 years. So Louisiana Purchase. From sea, 13 colonies east of Mississippi, then Louisiana Purchase. Then 1819s, they got the territory from Spain, that is the Florida, annexed it. The major other annexations came around about 1840s. Texas annexation and the annexation of what is called Alta California. Alta means upstream, the Baja means downstream. Alta California, that's a broad term, that is California and Utah and New Mexico, Arizona, and many other states were present. So that is the Mexican secession. They had a war with Mexico, Mexican-American War, 1840, during the President James Polk time. And before that, they also got the territory It was the British territory, the Oregon territory, that is the Oregon and Washington state, not Washington DC, on the west coast, Pacific Northwest. So this is, by this time, coast to coast Americans took over the land from the native flora and fauna, native red Indian community. Here I am not discussing about the other takeovers like Alaska that happened within 10 years after Lincoln passed away, and that is this is non-contiguous United States and Mexico. Sorry, Hawaii. So just I ignored these things, are only we are talking about coast to coast. So this is called manifest destiny. It's a political ideology belief system that the Americans believed, a political doctrine, and the United States is destined, particularly during the expansion, Western expansion, that is the frontier, annexation and expansion, that the nation was destined to expand towards the West. That is the manifest destiny, coast to coast. James Polk was the president of the United States from 1845 to 49. That is almost the time during the British imperialism annexed the native Khalsa Sarkar, Sikh kingdom of Punjab and made it British Punjab. So that time. So 1845, Texas annexation. Then briefly, there are 13 colonies. The most important the territorial expansion takeover came during Thomas Jefferson, third president's time. Other major takeover came in James Polk time, even James before the Polk, and the Texas was annexed, but we have put broadly these two. Afterwards, the annexation, the takeover practically ended. So, why we are talking about this, how does it matter? After takeover, at the time the industrialization process started and the drawdown process also started on the planet Earth. The takeover and drawdown made the America extremely powerful and very colossal society, consuming a lot of resources that has dawned into what is called American dream. American dream is a comfortable life and non-competitive lifestyle. Everybody has having a very good house and easy job and retired pension and so on. Broad idea. That concept now doesn't exist anymore because the deprivation of the frontier, deprivation of the takeover, deprivation of the drawdown of minerals and metals. That means essentially the country is on the downscale because it lacks the carrying capacity surplus to continue the American dream. So essentially, when the a country became independent, 1776, 3 million people lived there. During the Lincoln's times, 1865, 35 million people lived there. That means 3 and 35, 33, 10 times. And by Biden time, there are around about 333 or 340 million. Now, this is 2025 Trump's time. So you can say 3 and 33 or 35, then 330. That is the population increment, not only the increase in population, increase in the consumption. The Homo sapiens become colossal. How does this entire thing fit into the comparison? Let's say in the entire planet Earth there's 150 units, 150 million square kilometers, among which 3 or 4 entities like China, Canada, United States, Europe, west of Ural Mountains. That means the Russian part of Europe has a 10 units, 10 million square kilometers. And overnight, rather to say immediately, the European colonizers accessed 10 million, 24 million square kilometers here and 17 square kilometers here, almost 8 or 9 square kilometers here, 50 square kilometers of area, that is one third of the world land mass, and they got immense opportunity to practice takeover from the local competitors, flora and fauna, and later the drawdown process they benefited that made these societies into very powerful, very prominent nations. So Homo sapiens, now America has become colossus, means everybody consuming a lot of resources, driving 40 to 50 kilometers per day, and so on. This is the book where I got most of the resources and I put my own understanding of the global systems in discerning this. Well, we have covered the takeover process, American dreams, and that one. So how we can remember these things very easily? I have put it here, a simple thing here. So most of the takeover process occurred during the time of Jefferson president and James Polk. You remember the Indian leader Loknaik Jayaprakash Narayan, who passed away around about 1978 or so during the Morarji Bhai's time, government's administration time. Remember, JP is popularly called from the Tirhat region, that is the Bihar or Bihar province, JP, Jayaprakash Narayan. So remember, J is Jefferson, P is Polk. That's the presidential US presidents where most of the takeover process from coast to coast has completed, and ignoring the Alaskan purchase and Hawaii, that is the annexation few years later. So that is from the sea to sailing sea. This is the manifest destiny, the lady guiding the American expansion, Oregon trails, and all those Santa Fe trails, also westward movement, annexation, and closing the frontier, reaching the Pacific Ocean. So these are the list of the presidents here to show popularly, like the JP, remember James Jefferson, and third president Thomas Jefferson time, who was the during the time of uh, the final stages of the Nana Fadnavis, the prominent Maratha leader, and which was the ruler of the Maratha Empire and de facto ruler Thomas Jefferson, 1802, 1809, early stages of Maharaja Ranjit Singh time. Then so Texas annexation actually occurred year before the John Taylor's time, but the process of legality, everything during the James Polk time, where the secession of the Mexico, a lot of California, that region, and as well as the Oregon Territory settlement. So J.P. James Polk and Thomas Jefferson before. So this that William Catton Jr. So what are we talking about today? The European discovery navigation found a vast territory round about 1500, and the European colonization started taking over the new world. Here, United States, they took over the land. This is the sea to sea, replacing their competitors, Flora and Fauna. The Fauna includes the dispensable native Indians, which the colonizers disregarded as less than human beings at that time. So the coast to shining coast takeover of the United States was complete. Immense amount of the land later drawing down made the country extremely powerful and left a legacy. That legacy called era of exuberance. Exuberance means happy moment, affluence or social efflorescence and so on. The easy, comfortable way of life and exuberance, ecological exuberance by takeover and drawdown gave rise to social political exuberance that was spearheaded by the United States to the rest of the world. That what we have a big human predicament dilemma. We cannot carry on that in a world with 8.2 billion Homo colossals, extreme aspirations, looking for immense amount of non-renewable resources, coal, natural gas, oil. That is the dilemma we face. The root cause to connect the point today, that is the base was laid by takeover of the new world, sea to shining sea, that is the takeover by European colonies, the American territory. In the next presentation, Mitranam, will talk about, that is the MSS, mature seral stage, an ecological stage of succession. What is the difference between Homo colossus, Homo sapiens? Homo colossus is the mature. I think there is a difference. I will correct the spelling. Homo sapiens is more mature several stage compared to Homo colossus, who is a less mature stage. Thank you very much. See you later in the next presentation.